In the Port Elizabeth High Court has been met with yet another delay. The state has not been successful in obtaining a new certificate of authorisation from the National Prosecutions Authority. Last week, Omotoso's lawyer, Peter Daubermann, argued that the previous certificate of authorisation for all the charges was in fact invalid. Omotoso's defence team argued that the trial is now de novo and that any prior certificates should not be valid. Daubermann wants the rest of the counts to be heard in their respective courts in the country. Daubermann told the court that several of the offences allegedly occurred in Mpumalanga, Kwa-Zulu Natal and the Western Cape. The defence also told the court that several of the offences occurred outside of the country in Israel. The state prosecutor Ntelwa told the court that he had received authorization to centralize the charges by former MPA head Shaun Abrahams and that the certificate was valid. Ntelwa said the previous indictment in the trial only contains minor changes and no new charges were added. He also argued that the defence did not object to the jurisdiction issue during the previous trial. The state is now arguing that all charges should be centralised and heard in one court. State prosecutor Ntelwa handed the previous certificate to presiding judge Irma Skuman. The matter has now been postponed to 2 o'clock tomorrow for consideration. Well, earlier on we did speak to my colleague Jadely Posa.
Defence lawyer Peter Daubermann spent a lot of time with the certificate that was issued last year by NPA head Shaun Abrahams, citing that the charges in the indictment would be centralised and would be heard by the Port Elizabeth High Court. We heard the state prosecutor Ntelwa told the court that the certificate was still valid, as the certificate was supposed to centralise all the charges. Now, last week we expected the state to bring a new certificate after Judge Irma Skuman asked State Prosecutor Ntelwa to provide them with a new certificate. The certificate is still not handed to Judge Irma Skuman, but State Prosecutor Ntelwa says that the previous certificate would still stand in court, saying that no charges were added. This is very important for the defence's case, as they are saying that all the charges on the charge sheet should be heard in the various area codes across the country. This is important because only 7 of the 63 main charges and 34 alternative charges that Timothy Omotoso and his co-accused Zukiswa Sito and Lusanda Solani face occurred in Port Elizabeth, where the other charges or offences occurred in the Western Cape, Secunda and in Kwa-Zulu Natal. Outside the Port Elizabeth High Court, both the Jesus Dominion International Church members as well as the ANC Women's League were outside in their numbers. The Jesus Dominion International Church members have been outside since the starting of the trial, saying they will support their pastor Timothy Omotoso, who is innocent, hoisting placards with messages of support, whereas the ANC Women's League on the other side of the road have also affirmed their support for the witnesses in the matter, saying that Timothy Omotoso must remain behind bars. It now remains to be seen whether Judge Irma Skuman will in fact take that certificate and use it in the court of law, which will centralise all the charges in the indictment. Court resumes tomorrow. I'm Jadely Posa, SABC News in Port Elizabeth.